Jocks and Jills, episode 4. Woo! Hi, everyone. Welcome in. I don't know what to do with my hands right now. I have so much room for activities.
So nice. We could.
If you see us right now and you're not just listening to us on an audio platform, we have mic stands now. So we're moving up in the world every single week here on the Jocks and Jills podcast. I guess we've already dropped an episode this week. So every single day, we're moving up a bit in the world on the Jocks and Jills
Baby
pod.
steps.
Baby steps.
Baby steps, baby.
Baby steps. I feel like that's a good tie to how your week has gone. It's been getting better and better.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Ed's back. Have a husband again?
He's back. He made it back. There was a moment where there was like uncertainty. For everyone who maybe hasn't caught up and you're just jumping in on this episode, my husband got stuck down in Costa Rica. There was torrential rain. There was a big storm. It damaged the runway that the airport that he was supposed to fly out of. There was another airport like anywhere from 4 to 6 hours away that he could have flown out of that wasn't damaged, but he decided to test his luck with the damaged airport. So I say he was selectively stuck in Costa Rica for 5 extra days because one of his buddies got out right the next day out of the airport that I'm talking about, the one in San Jose. So anyways, he books his flight to San Jose. He's going to take a shuttle there. And the morning that he's supposed to shuttle there, now it could take anywhere from 4 to 6 hours just based on roads, conditions, and
That's
weather.
What you want to hear, right? You want that 2-hour discrepancy.
And that wasn't even the issue, Julia. So 9 a.m. rolls around. He's supposed to be on the bus. And he was like, yeah, the guy's not here. I'm like, what do you mean? And he was like, he's having car troubles with his battery is basically not working.
On the bus.
The shuttle bus that's supposed to take him and another person to the airport. So I'm like, well, you got a couple hours to spare. It's fine. Then he gets a notification that there's a mechanical issue on his plane, so they're delayed an hour. And so I'm like, sure enough, one, the bus is either just going to get there in time and then his flight's going to get canceled, or two, the flight's going to go.
That would have been the worst, probably. Then he really would have been stuck actually at the airport.
100%. Sleeping on a bench.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, though. He made it. The bus got fixed, I guess, or a new battery or something, and he made it to the airport, and the plane actually took off, and he made it home safe. Got in at like 1:30 in the morning. I was trying to stay awake. He's like, you're insane. Go to bed. I was like, you're right. That is silly. I should be sleeping.
Yeah.
Taking it all in. So his first day back, you and I planned to come to minicamp here in Toronto. So I was up and out the door at 7 to get here so we could pump off some interviews, obviously record here. Thank you to the NHL Alumni Association for letting us take over your dig. Scotty McKay, love you, buddy. Brody, I don't know your last name, but you're cool as.
Cool dude. This is a great spot they set us up with.
Yeah, wicked. So I'm up and out, so Ed had to get up and do like breakfast. He had to get my son's show and tell ready. He had to get them both to school, and then he had to go to his chiropractic appointment and then back to work, and then he's got to pick him up after school and do dinner. And so it's just like, poor guy came home and just dove right back into it.
He's back.
And now I say poor guy lightly because like, I don't care if he's gone for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, as long as I know and I can plan. It was always the uncertainty and the canceling that just...
It was stressful.
Well, it was and it wasn't. Like, I knew I could handle some things. Like, I missed my Tuesday night hockey with Shirley's girls twice, which is like, whatever. It happens. But, like...
It's tragic,
ultimately. Yeah, because I really wanted to have beers and honey hot wings at Puck's afterwards, you know?
So good.
Funny story about that.
Yeah.
Actually, just Shirley's girls. My first... night going to play with them, and these are all players that I played NCAA with and some in the Canada under-22 program.
Oh, I thought it was all CWHL girls.
And some CWHL girls too, yeah, but like we all played NCAA with and against each other. So I had worn my CCM unisuit, that nice golden one, and so everyone's like, ooh, nice fit. I'm like,
unisuit?
Thank you. Not a unisuit, but like they're the same color, top and bottom. What do you call that?
Are you talking about a sweatsuit or a tracksuit?
Tracksuit.
Everyone put unisuit down in your list of Tessa's
made up words.
It's not made up, but it's like, I'm picturing a unitard. Like, I'm picturing you wearing CCM Gitch. So we talked about this.
Yeah.
We were in a meeting recently about merch, and Tessa made a joke. She was like, yeah, next thing you know, you're going to be wearing like a one-piece
unitard like I wore in the 80s.
And of course, my girls who show up frequently at Aritzia know I already own 3 of them, and I wear them to Pilates. Like, Tessa's just behind.
I meant like the black with the fluorescent colors, the ones that were rocking. Anyways, so I go in this nice tracksuit, matching tracksuit.
That's so much better.
Up for Pucks. grab a beer, order some honey hot wings, and I'm chatting with the ladies, and I'm very handsy when I talk sometimes, which is kind of nice now. I'm free. And so I got a wing in my hand, and
And again, handsy sounds like you're feeling up whoever you're talking to.
No, I'm just feeling up
You
my
talk
wings,
with your hands.
my saucy wings, yeah. And I go to take a bite, and it drops right in my crotch area, like red sauce
not the
everywhere.
light
And then
brown.
it got on my sneakers too. So it looked like I had like
Yeah.
it looked bad. It looked like it was my time of the month, and I forgot basically. And that was my first.
And it was
skate.
explosive.
That's my first skate back with everyone. I was like, cool. Really making an impact here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll see Shirley's girls again next week.
Heck yeah.
Good. We are pumped to go to Minnesota
Yes.
in about a week's time.
Totally.
We still have a couple episodes between now and then.
I hope Taylor Swift finally has she worn the jersey yet? Can she? What are her people doing?
Oh,
like is like where is the disconnect? Because as far as I'm concerned, hear me out here. Love T Swift.
Yeah.
Love her. Love you, Taylor. She's like my generation Spice Girls, where she's leading the charge for us ladies, and
Yeah.
like she's our voice, and she's so powerful and kick ass. And it's like you got a team here with a very similar logo, and it was gifted to you.
And she knows
we
how
ju-
much of an impact she's had on the NFL. Like, imagine what she could do for women's sports.
Well, you don't even have to take that role. Just a quick post like love the jerseys,
No, all
girl.
it takes is a little appearance. That's what I mean.
That's
Everything
it.
she touches.
And like Travis likes hockey. He played hockey.
Yep.
Talked about it.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And there's still lots of time for this to happen. Because
Yeah.
you know that she hasn't been playing all week, right?
Yeah.
You think that she's...
I thought she just had concerts every day. I have no
No,
idea.
she does not have concerts every day. Thursday. So tonight, you all are hearing this on Friday. We're recording on Thursday. Tonight is the first night of her last run in Toronto.
Oh.
So-
So it's her last show.
No.
No.
I'm good. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
3 in a
Saturday
row?
is her last show.
Girl's got the best cardio in the game.
Dude, have you heard what her cardio routine was?
She like runs for 3 hours.
Yeah,
while
and
singing.
sings her songs.
That's insane.
So crazy. And I tried to do it. I didn't actually try to do it full out, but I was in my condo gym and I was like, what's it like to sing while you run? I wasn't
But like singing sounding good also.
It's insane. I
Yeah.
can't even barely talk. I'm not even usually trying to have a conversation on a jog.
I'm a talker when I run. I don't like
That's
being,
surprising.
I don't like listening to myself the whole time.
I like a podcast when I run the best.
Samesies.
Yeah.
Down with that.
Okay, anyways, Minnesota, we are coming
Yes.
to you in about a week's time.
Yeah.
We have a couple episodes to drop before then, but we wanted to put the feelers out there to you guys in terms of what we should be doing in Minnesota,
Pre-game.
post-game, where we should go, what we need to hit. I've spent a lot of time in St. Paul and the Twin Cities, but I haven't in a while, and I don't really know like
I was there for the finals. It was wicked awesome.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have to go to.
You know who you got to meet? Party Patty. My
I've heard.
roommate Krista Scarda, her mom Patty, love Patty. Patty and Lou, they held it down when I visited there, serving up margaritas at like
Oh yeah, you
10
love
in the morning.
That. You love that. There's also a place in Minnesota. Can somebody drop in the comments what place this is?
What?
I would go all the time for tournaments as a kid, and they only do like family style Italian food. Buca di Pepe's, best restaurant ever. I still think about it.
Well, you know where to find Julia now.
We're gonna have to hit that place up when we're in Minnesota.
Down.
We mentioned that we're at training camp right now in
Yep.
Toronto. We've seen the girls buzzing around all morning. We've gotten a couple cool interviews on the book. We're gonna watch the Thursday night game in a couple hours here.
Yeah, can I just say that it's like so much fun. Like when I first came in the morning, Abby Rock, Jill Saunier, Jamie Bourbonnais were walking in, and they was like, "Hey!" and everyone was so pumped and gave us hugs, and we're excited for our season 2, but we're excited for their season number 2.
Of course.
So it's just really, I don't know. Thank you, ladies in the PWHL, for just being so awesome with us. Got to give a shout out too to Hannah, the PR lady with Team New York.
So good.
She's bomb.
Yeah.
And Joe with Minnesota, you've been awesome. Thanks, guys. We appreciate you setting some things up last minute for us, and all the love. So I can't stop saying thank you to everybody. Is
Yeah.
that Canadian?
It's Canadian. It's fitting for the part of our lives that we're in right now. Not
Yeah.
cool this transition has been.
Fair.
Yeah. So it all works.
And we also need to give a big shout out and thank you to our producer who has been with us since season 1. Chris, we love you, buddy. This is the last episode. He will be cutting. He's the best. He's so much fun. He's a goalie. We love our goalies.
We love
It's
goalies on the
fitting
show.
that he's a goalie. He's out in Western Canada, and it originally started with Chris. Like, he was only going to do a couple episodes till we found someone else.
No, we just vibed.
And then we were just like, we love chatting with Chris every week.
Yep.
We love, adding stress to his life.
We love hearing about his kids
Oh,
and like their
best.
honestly. So we've loved working with Chris.
Yeah, Chris-
such a good guy, talented guy, produces awesome podcasts. So
Yeah.
thank you for everything.
You're going to have
Chris.
to wait next week till you get to meet our new producer. So we're going to have some fun with that.
Exciting stuff.
Heck yeah.
I have to say briefly, the girls were all really excited to see us this morning. However, I do believe they were all kind of rattled that I didn't bring Enzo.
Yeah, Tenzo, as Annie would say.
That's all I call him now is
Tenzo.
Tenzo. It's such a cute name. It's so much better than Enzo. I'm like, Annie, how did I not think of that? Abby Rock and I...
She said she was gonna cry if you brought Tenzo, so I'm glad that you
Yeah.
didn't.
Abby Rock and I communicate exclusively in wiener dog memes and merchandise. It's amazing. I can't wait till Abby Rock gets a wiener dog. Like, I wait patiently for
I'm just
for that
excited to
happen.
see what she's gonna name it.
Oh, you know it's going to have a good name.
Yeah, it won't be Tenzo. It'll be something hilarious.
No, it'll be maybe hockey related, maybe Sue related. I don't know, but it's gonna be good, whatever
Yeah.
it is. Okay, now that we've got you up to date on our life happenings, let's get you up to date on what's going on in the PWHL with our headlines. New rules this week, Tessa,
Yes.
and everybody was hype about them. This is the one. Actually, let's talk about player safety first because
Yeah.
that was the
That's one I liked.
yes.
As long as it's done right.
Yeah. Major penalty and game misconduct as a default penalty for illegal checks to the head.
Mm-hmm.
Anything with the head.
Contact to the head first, absolutely. And that's just what it should be across every sport and every league. No targeting the head. That's just a major no-no, sorry. I feel like you do it once, you'll probably learn. But the game's getting faster and faster and faster and faster here with the ladies' game. Same with the men. So you might as well get it in now.
Yeah.
Just practice not doing that. And especially, with these ladies who a lot of them didn't come up body checking all the way through. So there's an adjustment there. However, I like it because I like protecting these ladies. I like protecting their noodles. I've had a few concussions myself. So I know it's not fun. I know the post-concussion stuff is not fun. So I think that this is a great move by the league. And the control room will have a look at these hits to make sure that the call is correct as well, which is nice because you don't want to see something, like a major player getting ejected when really the head wasn't targeted first just based on a snap call. Because like I said, the game's
Hard to
pretty
make
quick.
those calls on the ice.
And look, I gave it to refs when I played, and I did understand that their job was hard and they were human. I'm just too hyper competitive to not get angry and uppity at things when I'm playing. But like now that I get to sit back and be like an armchair GM and stuff and an armchair coach, I have so much respect and empathy or sympathy is the word, I guess, for them in certain situations. Because when you're at the game sitting at the glass and you're seeing how fast it is, it's kind of like, well, how the heck did you even catch that?
How could you make that call?
Even
It's
offsides
so
when
hard.
it's offside when it's so close.
Yeah.
I said offsides. Ew. I'm Canadian.
okay.
It's singular. There's only one time an offside happens on a play. It's an offside. Sometimes I'm like, damn, how'd they catch that right? It's kind of like umpires, I guess, with balls and strikes and how often they are
Yeah,
right.
it's like
wild.
the game has just almost evolved beyond. It's too fast
Yeah.
for the human
My
eye
eyes. Yeah.
now. Yeah, mine for sure.
And that's why I'm retired, sitting here chatting with you.
Absolutely. So that's great. Grabbing the face mask, chin guard, hair, neck. Also gonna be a major in a game misconduct. I think that's because that happened once
It did
this year.
in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Who were they playing against? Was it Montreal? Or was it New York? Was it the Pizza Rats?
I think it was an American team. I have like New York or Boston in my head right now. Anyways, we'll double
No,
check.
was it in the playoffs? Was it Minnesota?
It might have
Look
been
at
the
us
first
name
couple.
all 3 American teams like we know what we're talking about.
We've actually named all 6 teams.
We did.
We named
Not
literally
Ottawa.
all
We kept
6
Ottawa
teams.
out of it and
Ottawa
watch
was
it
in my head at one point.
and watch
though.
it be Ottawa.
So, yeah. So we're pleased to hear about this push for player safety. Because the
and
only criticism about
who's pulling hair? Did that ever happen?
I'm not going to judge anyone who does something in the heat of the moment. I would pull hair in the heat of the moment.
No, you wouldn't.
If I saw Pony and I'm pissed off, I'm pulling it.
Okay, but here's the deal. People like myself, where all I need is just one little instance to actually just see red. If you were to ever pull my hair, like I would feel so bad for you because I would have no control over what happens after that.
Like, you think I'm in a good frame of mind when I'm pulling your hair on the ice?
No, but I'm
Like-
just saying that's a reason. Just don't do it. Outside of the penalty in itself,
Yeah.
it's one way to turn someone's rage meter to like a 15.
I actually was just listening to Nazem Kadri's book because I'm just calling myself out. I wasn't reading it. It was an audiobook situation. And he was talking about when he pulled Joe Thornton's beard.
Yeah.
He was
Didn't he
immediately
rip a piece
Yeah,
out of
he was
it?
like, why did I do that? Yeah.
That must have hurt so bad.
Oh
Jumbo
my gosh,
Joe, what
it
a
would've been
legend.
terrible.
Love that guy.
Anyways, the only criticism that anyone had about body checking last year was like, are the players safe? Do they know what they're doing? And this is one way that the league is making sure that the players are safe.
Yeah.
So that's good.
The craziest thing, though, is what viewers were worried, but the players are like, nah, we want more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't know, where do you draw the line?
The no escape rule is the one that got the most attention yesterday.
I dig.
If your team takes a penalty, no one gets off the ice until the whistle blows after the face-off.
The next face-off. Which you're going to see, if it's a defenseman that gets the penalty, a defender that gets the penalty, whoever the centerman is winning it straight back to the goalie. That's the play.
Right.
That's the play.
Yeah.
Get the
Are
get
you
the
scared
whistle.
for forwards of the world right now?
Yeah, I am. Look, if Haley Irwin's out there, and let's say like back in the day, Carla McLeod was my D partner. Haley Irwin's the center. Carla gets a tripping penalty. Whatever. Irwin was so responsible as a forward, as a centerman. I would let her play D with me any day. There are some players that I played with that would probably be my last choice.
Right.
So there's going to be moments where it's like, you know, and I find not so much in a penalty kill situation because it's not that confusing. You can keep a tight box, right?
Yeah.
But this is where face-offs are going to be huge and key, where if you have someone that's maybe not on their strong side, they're just going to tie it up, and your winger has to come in, or D has to come in off the boards, whoever you have lined up there, and you're just punching it back to your goalie, period. Everyone tie up.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll be interesting to see how do you practice this?
Exactly that. Situational in practice. End of practice. Okay, everybody, split up. One down here, and you work on both sides. Goalies, you communicate through everything. Everything is talking. Centerman, before you take the draw, tell the goalie whether it's going to be a direct win back or if you're tying up and you need your wingers to come in. Everyone's on the same page. There's got to be discussion.
Right.
Like, no one can assume everyone knows.
I heard Nicole Hensley talking about this yesterday. Was it Hensley or was it Rooney talking
It was
yesterday?
Hensley. Yeah, she
laughing.
gave a dig to the forwards.
Yeah.
She gets it, man. Goalies get it, just like D. It's like, come on.
So would you have ever? I like this, just to give my take on it.
Yeah.
But I am filing it under shit I never would have thought about in my life.
It kind of just makes sense, right? Like the icing, like why not?
It's cool.
It's like a double penalize. And what I like about it too is that because I like to like push the envelope and cheat and be like a little bit coy out there sometimes. So like sometimes I would tap my goalie like after an icing and be like, yo, your pad's undone. Like Zabby would be the best at reading that situation. Kim St. Pierre, awesome. And they would just drop down and pretend to fix their gear to help us rest after the icing to let us catch our breath a little bit, right? Those extra few seconds.
Yeah.
But if you do that, if a coach like throws an extra player on to try and make things confusing or whatever, automatic delay a game penalty. Don't mess around with the rule.
Yeah, that's gonna be hard as hell to the
How
refs
do you
are probably
decipher?
begging for help.
Yeah.
They need an eye in the sky for that sort of situation.
Yeah.
Don't they? It's so hard.
Well, what's going to happen is the linesman is going to have to, as soon as they see a hand go up, just say to the bench right away, whoever's on that side.
Yeah, they're just gonna have their hand up to
Don't.
the bench. The liney.
Do not.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's actually one way that makes it easier.
Yeah. And it's going to make every coach be more aware constantly throughout a game.
Yeah. A couple important dates announced. Waiver period opens 5 p.m. Eastern Time, November 26th. Closes 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the 27th.
Yeah. And then the rosters are set at 5 p.m. Eastern on the 27th.
Woo!
Right?
So a lot will happen between now and then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to make any bold predictions or anything like that, but
I want to see some more hockey first.
yeah, we got to see more hockey, but I think lots can happen in this. It's just such a stacked league.
Yeah.
There's so few teams right now. Good thing expansion is coming.
Yeah.
We heard the final tour stop
Yeah. How stoked are you?
on the PWHL Takeover
Julia's
Tour.
favorite Canadian city.
My absolute favorite city in Canada. Edmonton, Alberta. I'm coming back. You can't get rid of me, Edmonton.
Though.
Edmonton literally cannot get rid
You
of me.
can't get rid of Edmonton, is what it is. Edmonton's just, it's meant for you, Julia.
You know what? It's not meant for me. Don't ever say that again. Edmonton, we'll see you there. You're a good hockey town, and that's all I have to say about you. That's it.
That's all we got.
There might be some good food there that I've had. I'd have to think harder. The mall was fun. So that's cool. Then we've seen a couple exhibition games.
Yep. Same
First
score,
two,
which is strange.
3-1 across the board.
Yep.
Jared Buck, whose coverage I really like in Montreal, said something about the Boston-Montreal game. Obviously we couldn't see that one, so
Yep.
I was just checking in on the reporters there. And he said something hilarious because they're making the teams. I just made that sound so aggressive. The teams are doing overtime in a shootout no matter what, so they can practice those situations. And he was like, it's almost cruel to make Montreal and Boston do this right now.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah. Although I will say, Abby Boreen in that game missed a wide open net 2-2 going into OT right in the last, I think it was minute. But if you looked at the rosters, Boston basically had their full roster rocking. Montreal didn't. They set out quite a few players.
Right.
So, and it was still only a 3-1 game, really. Or sorry, it was 2-1. It would have been 2-2 heading into overtime if Boreen would have scored. So for Montreal, that's not bad. I would just like to see them produce more because,
That's what they were missing last year.
Yeah. Boreen, I heard, just talking around, played very well. And is showing ton of promise. And just speaking with the organization, she hasn't even reached her ceiling yet. Like, they're so excited to work with her, and they're so excited she's a part of the Victoire. So, Montreal, it was a good pickup.
Very good pickup.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Minnesota beat Minnesota beat Toronto.
Yeah.
3-1 as well.
Lee Steckline getting on the board.
Yeah.
I talked to her today. I was like, yeah, look at you opening the scoring.
First
she's like,
goal of the season.
She's like, I know. It was like my only shot, I think, and I better not waste all my goals in preseason. I was like, girl, you got a lot more coming for you. It's all good.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Jocelyn was just playing?
Who?
Joss?
Yeah. She was playing a heck of a lot of minutes. Like, I looked at the time on ice. I'm like, either this is wrong or we're in playoffs already. And I just woke up. Like, she played over 24 minutes.
She's just getting the bod going. Good
Crazy. Joss just getting a workout in.
That is crazy.
I do want to mention, sorry, I forgot that in the Boston game, Hillary scored twice. Clearly, she's healthy this year.
Yeah,
Clearly,
sorry.
she's
We
feeling good.
We did mean to talk about that more.
Yeah, got to go back to Hill because, this is the Hillary that Boston was expecting to see last year. She was dinged up, but she's looking mighty fine after the rivalry and after that
playing at home in Idaho. Like, she's fired up for the season.
I feel like it's going to be a Hillary year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else from the couple exhibition games over the weekend that you wanted to touch on?
Laura Kluge. Remember I told you I was excited about it? She scored in the forced overtime that these mini camps are having
overtime
everybody
punishment.
play. Yeah. Scored a goal for Toronto, the OT fake winner, if you will. Like it, and she's doing well for herself, so I'm cheering for you, kid.
Yeah. So that's what we got to update you on in terms of headlines this week. Our interview this week is with someone fun, and as a note, it is once again in the morning at the CCM event in Montreal when Tessa was, flying. And Ed was there too. Tessa and Ed were just
And Liam.
covering my butt. No.
Liam was eating the snacks. He was around. Or was
He
that
came
after
with
you
me.
showed up?
He
right?
came with me.
Right.
We came together. Grace Zumwinkle was who you got to talk to.
Yeah.
And Grace is like one of my favorite players. We pump her tires
so
tires
good.
on the podcast all the time. But on the ice, off the ice, just an awesome character.
She's a gem, and she had a couple of friends join her as well on this pod. It was a good one. I had so much fun with it.
Okay, here she is, Grace Zumwinkle from Montreal, CCM 125.
All right, Jocks and Jills kicking it in Montreal at the CCM 125-year anniversary, a company that has backed these ladies. There's 15 of them at the dinner, as mentioned before. It was just a great time. We got to showcase a lot of them. They kind of showed up and showed out some of the biggest stars in the NHL IMO, one of which, Grace Zumwinkle. Finally, Grace Cripes. I feel like I was hunting you down all season trying to get you on. I'm not going to knock your family because I love family time, and there was a lot of times when your mom and dad stole you away from us, but that's okay. We finally got you here. You couldn't get away from us. Your parents aren't around, so now you're just stuck talking to me.
There's worse people to talk to, I promise.
Regardless, thank you for taking the time joining us here today. I just want to talk a little bit about the season that was, just because we got a short, limited time with all of you. And obviously, Minnesota season, you guys started out in a tear. Like, that looked like a ton of fun hockey. And at the beginning of the season, I was made to pick a team that I thought was going to win it all. And I had, off the bat, right away, as soon as I saw how Boston drafted, I was like, Boston's going to win. Mainly because Erin Frankel is a boss between the pipes. I like her demeanor, big fan of her. But then I looked over and I saw Minnesota's lineup, and I was like, ooh, there's something tasty about this lineup. They just look right. And I still picked Boston, unfortunately. I'm very sorry. However, you proved me wrong and you made me regret my decision. Nonetheless, you guys went 5 games. It was pretty awesome. But just talk about the season for you. I mean, you were fresh out of college. You didn't even have to spend a season figuring out where you're going to play, how you were going to train, what were you going to do. So you wheel right into Minnesota. You win Rookie of the Year at the end of the season. But for you, puck drop right at the beginning of the season. Was it everything you imagined, or was it a little bit more in terms of the training, the physicality, the caliber of play? Like, what were your thoughts on season numero 1?
I think it was interesting. Like, you come in and you're almost, sorry,
That's
let me
okay.
hold this up.
That's okay.
A deer in headlights, and you're like, I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I think the first game in Minnesota was the most eye-opening. We had 13,000 fans, which for Minnesota, that's a huge audience. And so then from there, I feel like that just kind of set the momentum for the season that came to be. Obviously, we had some hills and valleys along the way, especially after the international break, going 0 for 5.
I know.
But I think it was just cool to see the traction that we got in Minnesota and across the league as a whole.
And for yourself, I mean, it was pretty cool. You got one of your besties playing with you, and Taylor Heisey, so did that help kind of ease that transition?
Yeah, I think we joke, and along the road we've cohabitated, I think. That's the word we use together, staying in a hotel room together for probably 4 months now at this point in time. But we're so familiar with each other and grow up playing at the Gophers together as well, so it's fun to go through it with her.
Yeah, I mean, your season, like you said, started out great, and then you guys go into the international break. A bunch of you head off to the World Championship. You guys had one hell of a barn burner against Canada in the preliminary rounds. That game was beefy. Like, the first shift, Renata Fast dumps Kendall Coyne in the corner. I need to know, like, for you, you were there. Were you dressed that game?
No.
You weren't dressed that game. Were you kind of like, get Abby Murphy out there to take care of business? Or what was it like? Because you obviously were in the locker room in between periods. Like, it had to have been so heated.
I think it was so heated, but I think a lot of people were used to that kind of hitting from the league as a whole. So it was like, oh, I guess this is just going to be the type of game that it is. But I think the league certainly prepared us from that physicality stance, because that was a step up from what everyone was used to.
Yeah. And then, obviously, tournament goes on. It was a tough physical tournament. I mean, Czechia really brought the physical play as well. They're really coming up the ranks pretty hot and heavy. So you get to the final game. Unfortunately, it doesn't go USA's way. So there's a mental and an emotional load there. I'm not ripping on you guys. It was a wicked game. It could have gone either way. Your team's so fast and skilled. It's just a fun team to watch. So let's talk about Minnesota pre-international break. All of that happens. You come back. Did you feel like the team was a little bit maybe mentally and emotionally exhausted, or what was it about post-international break that was different? I mean, you guys usually don't play after the Worlds. Your season's over, and that wasn't the case.
Everyone's like, oh, I should be going to the beach right now.
Yeah.
But I think for us, we were one of the front runners before the international break, and then we came back and it was almost like we just needed 1 or 2 more points. And I'm not saying we were holding on to that, but I think it was like every game it was like, oh, you just need 1 point, or you saw it and it was like, you just need a tie. And I think for us, maybe we got too hung up on that instead of like, how can we just show up and be the best version of our team? Yeah. And luckily, the chips fell where they needed to, and Ottawa ended up losing in the final game. Otherwise, we would have not been in. But yeah, I think it's just a roller coaster for us.
I mean, let's talk about that. So then Ottawa loses, right? You get in. So all of a sudden, does that breathe life into the locker room? You guys are like, all right, business time. Let's go get this and win, which you inevitably did.
I think, like, you look across the league, and there was only 24 regular season games, which is not that many. And so it was like we started out so hot, and then when we got super cold, people, I think, across the league were like, oh, I don't know if they're going to make it, or kind of started doubting us, it felt like. So I think the belief in our locker room was always there, even though maybe externally it didn't always show that.
Right. And I hear you're a little bit of a karaoke buff. You like to sing a little bit and act goofy. Was that what you used to lighten the mood with the team when you guys were in a bit of a slump? What's your go-to song?
My go-to song would be Party in the USA.
Right.
By Miley Cyrus.
Ed likes it.
It's just a classic, and you can dance to it, too.
Yeah. So did you get the ladies going with that?
Maybe a little bit.
And post-win, was there a party in the USA?
Yes, there was a party in the USA.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, like after the Walter Cup?
After you guys won the Walter Cup.
I mean, it was maybe a 5-day event of just continuous But at one of the bars, we were the Water Cup champs, not the Walter Cup champs. So
That's tough. Did they forgot the L, or what happened there?
A little bit of a spelling error.
Come on, actually.
Like, on the karaoke bar?
Yeah.
That's what it said. The Water Cup champs.
Be honest, that thing looked so beat up.
The trophy?
What did you guys do to that thing?
We were just having a good time. But some exciting news, they actually just sent the replica to Minnesota.
Okay.
So we're supposed to be getting a day with the cup.
The non-beat-up, nice-looking cup. Because what you guys did to the first one clearly left a lot of marks. At the award ceremony, I'm like, is someone going to buff this and clean this up? They're like, we've tried. And I was like, what did Minnesota do to this thing?
Maybe some stories that I'll leave off the record.
You sure? We can edit whatever you want.
No, that's okay.
We'll save that, keep that in the locker room. That's fine. But I want to talk about that final, because what a freaking roller coaster ride. The playoffs, you guys came back, you beat Toronto, the team that picked you. So that must have been a little fuel for the fire. Yeah,
that was a little fuel. I mean, looking at the teams, I thought we were going to get picked based off our record, but I mean, deservingly so.
That's okay, but obviously you use that to come back and beat them. And then you guys run into Boston. And this was a gritty team that just found a way to constantly get wins. They literally beat up Montreal, took it to them, got the wins, carry on to the final, and they're set to face your team. So what was the preparation like for you guys heading into that Boston matchup? Because you knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Yeah, so I think we actually went down 0-2 against Toronto to start, and I think our motto ever since was just like one game at a time, and so that certainly helped us get out of the first round. And I think heading into Boston, we knew that they like to play physical, so it was going to be a battle of that. But I think just focusing on the next game rather than, it's going to be a 5-game series or a 3-game series or whatever it was. And so I think that was something that we just tried to focus on.
Yeah, and it's just so happened that we have a Boston player here. Let's get her insight on what this was like. Friend of the show. Where were you, episode 2, 3?
Episode 2, I think.
Episode 2 or 3?
TikTok star Lexi.
Yeah, Lexi and Gia in the house. So you guys are pals. You're not battling it out in the corner here, so you guys can all just get along and talk nicely. But, I mean, let's talk about that series, because, I mean, it was we were covering it. I was exhausted just sitting there on my butt doing absolutely nothing but talking about your play. So let's talk about travel. Let's talk about the physicality. And we can't drop goaltending, because on both sides the goaltending was lights out. So in Boston's locker room, you're taking on Minnesota, a team that got in by the skin of their teeth, came back and beat Toronto, and now they're getting set to face you all. So what was the mantra for Boston heading into that, let's say, that game 1? Because Boston sold out. You got your rink was bumping.
Yeah, our rink was bumping, and I think for us, we had a little bit of a longer break seeing what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And we knew once Minnesota came back that they were kind of on a hot streak now. So, and playoffs, as we saw, was a battle. Like, we didn't know if playoffs was going to be more physical and more competitive than the league games, because every game was so intense, but it was a step up, and it was more physical and more intense. So we knew that they were coming in pretty pumped after coming back and winning that series. So just trying to get our heads right and being ready to start after we had a little bit longer of a break.
Yeah, and then I just want to touch on this a little bit, because you were traded from Ottawa to Boston.
I was.
Yeah, what was that experience like? And then what was it like inserting yourself in a new locker room and having to like adapt and gel so quickly?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like, I found out about the trade on trade deadline day 20 minutes after the deadline, so I didn't think I was going anywhere. But there's no other reason that your GM texts you on trade deadline day other than to be like, hey, like,
you're moving.
So yeah, so he gave me a call, and I was like, okay, like I've said since the start, you kind of got to roll with everything in this league, and my thing is kind of be where your feet are. I didn't really have much time to process things. I basically had 24 hours we were in New York, had to get back to Ottawa, pack up my whole apartment, then get to Toronto by 7 p.m. the next day to meet with the Boston coaches and squad to play at 1 p.m., so like 36 hours later against Toronto with Boston. And super lucky. I didn't know Hillary Knight super well before. Obviously, I knew who she was, but like I never really interacted with her being from Canada. And she was probably the best human in the process, helping me with the transition. I can't say enough things, about her. Just a great human. Her and Ratty as well. Like, lucky we have Ratty here at this event too, and just great leadership in the locker room to help me and my transition, just those two, especially just continuously checking in, being like, do you need anything? And Ratty being like, hey, like, do you need help with plays? Do you need help with this? And having that support and that leadership in the locker room, especially as a young player and going through a time where I'm like, what just happened? Like, I'm living in a different country. I don't even have my work visa yet. I'm getting flown back and forth from Canada to the States. Yeah. So then once I was there, got settled a little bit. Obviously, we had a great run, and it was an amazing group to be a part of.
In that run, I mean, you were obviously watching the games they were playing against Montreal, Grace, and there was a game where Lexi, you actually got ejected. A call that I am a little bit against. I voiced my opinion. However, that's neither here nor there. But you stood in the corner, and your team battled and won that game. And then you saw, you guys hugging each other. In that moment, I was like, I don't know what you were like, Grace, but I was like, uh-oh. The green machine is cruising. Watch out, world. I felt like my pick is looking good right now. But that just goes to show how quickly you kind of took that locker room by storm, and you really made your presence felt. And it obviously rallied the team. You could see that you were a central part of that. But with their momentum coming into play, were you guys thinking like, okay, how are we going to slow this green machine down? I mean, you had two fantastic goalies that stepped up and handled things quite well. But for Minnesota's side, were you guys like just a little bit worried about who was coming in?
Yeah, I think we were a little worried. I think, especially after the international break, I feel like our teams are doing opposite things. Like you guys took it by storm and we were not. But I think as we watched you guys in the physicality, it was our joke as bugs on a windshield and making sure that it was either you're getting hit or you're going to hit. So I think we just kind of embraced that and we're like, it's going to be inevitable. And so just trying to not just be a bug on a windshield, like I said.
Let's go back to that game, overtime.
Game 4.
Dude. Oh my gosh. Crazy. I was down by the ice, and by the time I got down there, they're like, what are you doing down here? I'm like, didn't they win? And they're like, no, get back upstairs. And I was like, what? What's going on? How the heck? I don't even think you guys had your helmets done back up, and they were already dropping the puck to continue.
Yeah, it was like maybe a minute.
So, like, what is that whirlwind like? You think you've won, the goal is scored, everyone's on the ice, your stuff's everywhere, a little bit of, Finland 2019 feel at the World Championships. And then it was like, when did everybody realize, hold the phone? They're actually looking at this.
Well, I remember looking at Taylor Heisey because she was the one that actually went into Aaron Frankel, and she's like, I think that's goalie interference. And I was like, you think so? And she's like, yeah, like I'd be surprised if they called it. So I kind of had a feeling, and then sure enough, you look over and you're like, oh, are they actually going to call this off? And I'm like, well, maybe it would be the storybook ending, going to Game 5, like Game 7 kind of thing. And then it just got ruled, and we were like, okay, well, I guess we got to go play hockey again. But I think for us, I don't know about you guys, it was like, let's just get through the last 2 minutes, and then you'll have a reset in the locker room. But like we know, we did not make it to past those 2 minutes.
Alina Mueller had other plans. So what was it like for you guys? You think you lost, and then, hold on, you got another lifeline here.
Yeah, we all thought we lost. There was some tears on the bench, and people were like, the season's done. And then you kind of look over, and the coach is like, no, like, wait, we're gonna review it. Or they said, the refs came over and said, we're going to look at that. And we're like, okay. And at that point, we hadn't seen the replay. And then they showed the replay, and we're like, that's goalie interference. Call him back. Yeah. But in those situations, too, like, you could see it on the screen and think, like, that should be a call or not be a call. And sometimes the refs in the moment might not decide for you.
Yeah.
And in that case, they did. I just think the whole situation was pretty crazy. And then same thing with us. People had their helmets undone, like ready to walk off.
Yeah.
And then Leaners goes and
bar down,
snipes one home and sprints off the ice. So.
Is that her nickname, Leaner?
Leaners, yep.
Alina Mueller, Leaner, the old Leaner. And then to go, let's say Game 5, right? Championship game, rinks packed. Final game, Game 7, like you said. What was your coach's message in the locker room before that game? I played with Courtney Burchard, or Kessel now, and she was always a player coach when she played. So, and she likes to get hype. She drops the F-bombs. You don't have to drop every F-bomb, she said. But what was her message?
Yeah, honestly, she was pretty calm, to be completely honest,
Really?
And just kind of said, like, we've worked through a lot of things. Like, we had like a 0.02% chance of making the playoffs, like before that break. And she was like, we've made it through a lot of things, like made it through the last game, like focus on the little details type of thing. And it's the last game.
Right.
So, and then we had always like a guest speaker. So like sometimes a player would speak, or sometimes like a trainer or a athletic trainer. So we had our strength coach was pretty good. So then he would come in and did a little, hyped us up a little bit, and then we're ready to go. But yeah, that was kind of the.
And then what, for you guys, obviously coming off that heartbreak, were you like, Game 5, this is it, we're not doing this anymore?
Well, heading into Game 4, a lot of us were like, let's do it so we don't have to travel back to Boston. Like, that was like...
We were hoping that too. So was Ed. He was like, come on.
And so then we were like, well, we're here, so we might as well. But like you
done.
said, we had a skills coach, and he was a shorter man, but he would hype us up, and he wore these crocodile-skinned cowboy boots.
Nice.
And it just kind of set the tone for all of us, but he really brought the hype. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys are here doing some pretty cool things today. You're on the ice doing what? Shootouts?
Rate your shootout. Yeah.
More
Right.
like goalie saves, but yeah.
Rate the goalie saves. And you guys actually had a pretty cool special guest with you. Chelsea Denny, you want to come in? Dream Hockey?
Here.
Yeah, she can grab a seat. If you don't follow her online, you're not following the right accounts. Chelsea is from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Spent some time in Sudbury. Hey-oh, big nickel. So she's out there. I want her to talk last. I want to hear your input on. So she can do the most outlandish and silly things. If you think you're good at hockey and you got silky mitts, you are
not.
so wrong. Because it's not even fair with the stuff she can do. So, like, did you have a plan on what you're going to try and do out there to, like, have a cool shot? And then you did it and you were like, this is wicked. And then Chelsea went and you're like, oh, man.
Well, Chelsea wasn't out there.
Oh, she wasn't.
We needed her out
We
there.
needed
Oh,
her out.
you needed her. I thought she was out there with
No, but we
y'all.
could have used some of her moves. There was a few spinorama attempts that just nothing compared to yours. The puck maybe didn't get off the ice. But yeah, we could have used you out there.
What's your go-to move, Chelsea? Like, if you're going to go to, like, let's say you get invited to the PWHL All-Star Weekend and they're like, hey, give us the bee's knees. What's your top move?
Oh, I don't know. I have a few up my sleeve.
A couple.
Teach
yeah.
me one.
Most of us have like one good one.
I need one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have, like, first to pick the puck up. So I've been to the Jet Skills competition, and I couldn't even pick the puck up because I was so scared. So,
Really?
Yeah.
You
But-
got a little nervous, did you?
Yeah, I did.
But you could still put all those boys to shame. We all know it.
That's true.
So if these ladies were to ask you for, I guess, one tip, like in a real game, if they're going in a penalty
Give me a
shot.
move. I need one.
Yeah.
But not against Minnesota.
Okay, let's say against Toronto. Both
Yeah.
these teams are going up against Toronto in a shootout. What's the move, Chelsea?
That's a good question. I don't know. The fake of the head is always the go-to.
Fake of the head?
I always used to fake. Always backhand.
Really?
Always
Backhand.
backhand for
Gotta
me.
work on my backhand.
Shoots.
Okay.
We all got work to do. Always backhand.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like you have more space on your backhand. You can kind of get it in tighter to your body kind of thing.
Ah.
Whereas
You guys
you're
taking
like,
notes?
So
Fake
I'm
and
faking like this and going like this.
yeah.
Backhand
Remember the head
cheese.
fake.
And then pick it up
Yeah,
and
you
bat
do.
it in,
I'm
knock
gonna
it
go
off the knob of your stick.
You're gonna be the face on top or in the lineup, and I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Which way am I going?
But your rise to fame's been pretty cool. I mean, you were doing some cool stuff online. I remember being at work at TSN, and your trick shot came on the best, and I was like, this girl actually is the best. So how cool has it been just to watch your account grow and inspiring, young kids? I know you coach now, so what's that like for you?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, I started when I was 13, and I'm coaching 13-year-olds now. So I started trick shots when I was 13, not hockey. But it's cool. I mean, I didn't even know I was into the Sportsnet thing or whatever, the top 100.
Yeah.
But I was, and I got videos sent to me, and it was pretty cool. I mean, people always send me things saying, oh, you're on TV, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I'm on TV, that's crazy.
She's famous, and she doesn't even
You're
know
too
it.
humble.
Yeah.
I'd be like, have you seen my trick shot?
Yeah, let me show you.
Let
Hold on.
me show you my reel.
My highlight reel.
Let me play my highlight.
How much time do you have? I got like a 5-minute reel and a 10-minute reel. It depends how much you want to see. That's awesome. Are you going to get out to any PWHL games this second season, or what's your plan?
I hope so. I didn't get to go to one last year.
What?
I was so sad.
Being from Winnipeg, Minnesota should be your team.
I know.
Who's your favorite team?
Look at this
I
recruiting
don't have a
happening.
Choose
favorite
wisely.
team.
Tampering. She could be hired as your skills coach, guys. You don't know.
I could personally hire you. You can travel with me. Like, hey, this game, here's the fake, and go to your head.
That's awesome.
funny.
Well, I hope you guys are having fun today. It's been awesome having you around. Thanks for hanging out and chatting. Before we go, though, can you just pass the mic to Grace here? We just want to hear a little bit of a Party in the USA rendition, if you don't mind.
Oh, you're making me sing?
Just a little. Lexi can help you.
Okay. Well, are you gonna sing with me?
The words? Do we need the words?
I know the words.
I throw my hands up, playing my song. No, that's the wrong song. No, that's the wrong song.
No, that's the right song.
Right in my head, like,
Yeah, moving my
She doesn't
hips
even know her own
like yeah.
karaoke song.
But the best is when you like, I hop off the plane at LAX with a dream and a cardigan. You know, that's my
Welcome
favorite
to the
part.
land of famous says, woo!
Am I gonna fit in? Jump to the cab, here I am for the first time.
Look to my right.
And I see the Hollywood sign.
This is all so crazy.
Everybody seems so famous. No. We're next to a celebrity.
Yeah.
Famous trick shots.
There you have it. Karaoke on Jocks and Gels. Thanks, ladies. You're awesome.
Thanks, Tessa.
There she was, Grace, and we just saw her this morning too at the rink.
Yeah.
She's just got good vibes.
Literally.
I love her and
Joe,
Taylor Heisey. Like, they are the black cat golden retriever duo that everyone needs in their life.
They're sisters
Yeah.
from other misters. Literally, Joe, the PR guy from Minnesota, was like, who do you want to get? I can get you some really great interviews. Oh, you know who's great? Grace Zumwinkle and Taylor Heisey. I'm like, we've had both of them on our podcast. Like, we can't.
Yeah, we're having them both on again, though. They're too good not to go back to. Even Rock was walking by today. I was like, no, you were episode 1 last year. Like, we're getting you again at some point.
Yeah.
Sorry, bud. You'll be Jill Sonia. Like, you're too funny. You'll be
Jilly,
back.
Emma, there's
Yeah.
just so much goodness. It'll probably just be a roundtable banter with them at some point.
You're so right, especially now that we get to sit down in person with people.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so we've decided that we're going to do our Send It segment on our Tuesday episode of the podcast, rather.
Yep.
But there was a couple things in our comments that we wanted to clear up before signing off for the week.
Someone was worried that Kenzie wouldn't be calling PWHL games because she's now a boss out
in the
there
big leagues.
calling
The other big league.
calling NHL games. Not true. She will be. I believe she has just over 10 games or so.
Yeah.
So she'll be in the booth. You will hear her voice. We love it. We love Ken's. She's just so good at what she does.
And if you know Ken's, like we know Ken's, Kenzie would never be away from women's hockey.
Ever.
Ever.
I'm pretty sure she was worried about it when she did her first game. She's like, I'm just so worried. I don't want to remove myself from the women's game. I was
Yeah.
like, we'll never let you go.
You're never going anywhere, Kenzie.
Yeah.
So
And she'll be
Kenzie-
on our pod from time to time too. So
Totally.
you'll be hearing from Ken's.
Yeah, that's a voice that is never going away. And the other thing was about YouTube broadcast. Because
Yeah.
there is a lot of sadness about YouTube broadcast. We totally understand that. But we might have blown it out of proportion
We
in
did.
talking about it. Because we're Canadians. And that is just the case in Canada right now.
Yeah, only Canada will not have YouTube broadcast games. If you are living in the United States, the games will be broadcast on YouTube.
Yeah. So,
Just
and
some
we'll see
clarification.
what's to come about U.S. broadcast rights because we don't have those details yet.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's what we got for you this week, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be at the Eras Tour tonight. Everything is awesome. I'll see you guys there.
She better wear the jersey. You better wear the jersey.
Oh, I am wearing the jersey.
Okay, good.
You brought it for me today.
I did. You're welcome.
Pumped leather pants jersey is my Eras Tour fit, in case everyone was wondering. With that, we will talk to you all on Tuesday.